Hello and good morning, everyone. This is Mary Ann from UNA-pologetically. And, it's been a couple weeks or a few weeks since I did a live, but I wanted to make sure I hop on and talk about a topic that I find interesting. Today is Topic Thursday. So, what better way to start off, this kind of mid morning going into the noontime and talk about a topic that's been coming up lately. And the question I phrased it as, why do we settle? So I'm going to wait, a couple seconds here to see if anybody, hops on to the live so we can, chat for a little bit because it's really a question that I think is important for a lot of us in relationships, but not only people who are in relationships as well as people who are single and might be experiencing some, I don't know, difficulties in their life or struggling maybe with family boundaries, friendship boundaries, like any type of relationship really, and even within themselves. So let's just wait a second. I'm here live on Facebook and on Instagram. So if you see me, going back and forth, it's because I have two platforms on. So bear with me. Okay, let's get into it. Why do we settle? I've had a few conversations with people, and one of the things that is reoccurring is how people are choosing to stay in situations that may no longer serve them. And it's almost like people know the situations are no longer serving them, but they stay, right? And again, this is any type of relationship or situation that you may be in. It may be a partnership, it may be a friendship, it may be a relationship that you have with a family member that might be a little disgruntled, or there's tension there. Maybe there is something going on at work, right? All these aspects of our lives, our relationships that we've built, when we go into situations and we deal with people, right? But why do we settle? Why is it that it's easier for people to stay in a situation that can cause harm to them emotionally, hoping for change to occur rather than choosing themselves in self love, setting up those boundaries, knowing that something isn't good for them, and yet, I've heard this, and it's interesting. I've heard this several times in the past couple of weeks. Is I don't want to feel. One of the things I heard is I don't want to feel that feeling of falling into like a depression. I don't want to feel that. It's painful and it's hard. So my question was, so you rather stay in a situation that is harmful for you emotionally than go into a depression for a period of time and work yourself through that to get to the other side of self-love and respecting yourself and integrity and genuine happiness? It's interesting to me that we choose that. And then I had to go back to a time, even for myself, where I was in my early 20s and in an emotionally abusive relationship. And at that time, I wasn't choosing myself. I was choosing to stay in a relationship that did not serve me just because I didn't want to be a single parent, or I didn't want to mess up the little family that we had created, right? And my intuition was saying, "Girl, leave." And there were several times where I attempted to leave, and yet the back of my mind kept saying, "But you have this little family." And as women, I think oftentimes we are taught to stay in situations and stuff and make it work, and it's our job, and we're failures if something doesn't work out. And that concept of being a failure is baffling to me now after I got out of the situation. And granted, I wasn't the one that was strong enough at that point. Well, I kind of was, but he had made the decision to leave. And he did. And I was like, okay, cool. I almost needed him just to say it, just so I could say, okay, cool. And I did. So, and I only went back because I thought that he had changed because, there's a lot of emotions and we want this to work. Okay. And in my head, still, I knew it wasn't going to work. But because of the family dynamic, I said, let's try it out because we have a family, right? But we do that as women. We kind of keep going back to things that we know and our gut is saying it's not going to work. And it's almost like we need the reassurance or affirmation to say, yeah, girl, this ain't working, right? And I knew it wasn't working and I let it go after that. So there's why do we have to continuously go back to something and settle in that before we start trusting and believing in ourselves enough to say, I only need to hurt myself once, right? This only needs to hurt once in order for me to make the brave, courageous decision to get up and walk away from it or set a boundary, or not be part of that, right? We want to be courageous, but how often in life do we get that opportunity to be courageous and someone's reassuring you? It's almost like you have to know, you have to believe in yourself that much that you don't need that reassurance. And oftentimes women, we need those affirmations and reassurance because so many times in society, we often have all the odds stacked up against us and people telling us what to do with our bodies, what we cannot do, how equal we are or not. And you have to realize that lives within inside us. That is ingrained in us because of the society. And we have to fight against that because this is how we were raised. You have to know better for yourself to say, I want to be able to work through those emotions. I want to know more about myself. And what I often tell my clients is, you can learn more about yourself when you are the most vulnerable. And that is when you are hitting that deepest form of emotion. And if that ends up being, part of that depression period, then it's part of that depression period. And then when you're working your way through it and acknowledging, ooh, I'm here and it hurts and it's hard and I don't know how I'm going to pull through it, you try. And you try by every day getting up, giving yourself the assurance and the pat on the back you need to push yourself through, acknowledging where you are at. You're not going to ignore it. You know exactly where you're at, right? You know when you're feeling all those symptoms, you have no energy, you don't want to get up in the morning or throughout the day, you want to take a nap all the time. You know when you're feeling sad and you're feeling lonely. We felt that. There is a time period in your life that you possibly have felt that, no matter how it came about. But it's about learning who you are and the strength that you have during that time. That is when you learn the most about yourself. And when you go through that and when you're able to push through, you can say, damn, I did that, right? I did that, and I did that for me and not for anybody else. Women are afraid to go back into that after several situations. But here's the thing. Even if you fall into a little depression after a relationship is broken or you decide to leave or they left, whatever it might be, the reality is that you've done it before. So who's to say you're going to fall as deep as you did before? Because you got through it once upon a time. Have that belief in yourself that you can do it again. And it may not be as deep because there's part of you that really knows, that intuition and that gut is telling you that no longer served you. And the universe will constantly remind you that you no longer no longer belong in a situation. It will kick you out each and every time. There is something that's going to come up each and every time that reminds you that this isn't for you. You have to listen to that. You have to be strong enough to say, this is my sign each and every time. There's times that I hear people say, well, I keep telling God, give me a sign. And God's been giving you a sign. You're just not taking it, and you don't want to listen because you feel like you have to be ready for it. And sometimes you're just not. Sometimes you're just not ready for what's to come. And you just have to take that leap of faith and believe in yourself enough that you can do this and you can make it, because you a bad bitch, right? You just bad and you can do this. And then you reach out to your support systems and the ones that you trust, the support systems that are going to be there for you, the ones that are going to support you, the ones that are going to carry you through, tell you it's okay, tell you you got this, help you, take you out, be there with you when you cry, whatever it might be. And your therapist might be on your side too, saying, you got this, you got this. Have your cheerleaders there, because sometimes that's the one thing that helps you through. And if you don't have that cheerleader, go get a tribe. Go get one, even if it's just therapy, right? And you're doing that a couple times a week. Go ahead and find you someone who is going to support you through this, because we need that. We're humans. We thrive on interaction with other humans. Find it. And then when you find it, don't settle. Don't settle for the things that do not serve you, because it is going to do more damage and harm to you emotionally than it would have if you would have just took the leap of faith and went through your sadness, went through the grief, went through that loss. Because at the end of it, you will find peace and you genuinely will be happy, because this is a choice that you've made to no longer be in an emotionally draining situation. And as tough as it may be in certain situations, you have to choose you each and every time. And I'm telling you, things will align for you moving forward the more you continue to choose yourself, because it's not selfish. It's just doing something that you genuinely want to connect with and want to align with. And oftentimes we are aligning with things that do not belong to us. And if they did once before, they no longer belong to us. And yet we keep staying just off the fact that we've invested time. We also are creatures of habits. So we stay in situations that have been habitual, that we've been having for a long time. And I think a lot of, especially females, want that, kind of, let's see, girlfriends or Sex in the City type of relationship with other females that is like, yes, I want the friendships that we've had for a long time, and these are my girls, I want to grow up with it. And sometimes it's not possible. Sometimes other people haven't done their work enough to acknowledge and be accountable for their stuff or want to grow, right? And we have to know that. So sometimes we have to outgrow people, and sometimes we outgrow people, and that's okay. And it doesn't have to be beef. It can just be like, this is cool. I can say hi and bye. And then we keep it pushing, because we end up finding people that we can align so much better with, that we connect with a lot more, and not feeling like we have to hold back a part of ourselves that we outgrew. So when you find yourself outgrowing a situation, acknowledge that, grieve it, and move forward from it. Because the longer you stay, it will feel like it's rotting. and it's not going to feel good. So reach out to your support systems. Reach out to a therapist or a professional that can help you through it. Be there for you, be a cheerleader. Begin to do things that feel good to you, help you feel calm and peace, whether it's yoga, meditation, journaling, swimming, gardening, whatever it might be that can help create some peace in your life. Go ahead and do those things. And when you do that, you will find that you are shifting and connecting, realigning your energy with something so much greater, and that is peace. And you deserve peace and happiness in your life. So when you think about settling in a situation just because you don't want to go through the grieving process, ask yourself if it's worth you risking and losing your peace and happiness. I'm Marianne Francis from UNA-pologetically. I thank you for joining me here today on this Promptu Live, and I will be back in a couple weeks. Thank you guys. Bye.